Or you can just settle with the 130, be happy.
Do you want to risk $20?
Or risk
I shoot it, where do you want me to shoot it?
the free throw line. Are you confident in your ability? This isn't even luck. This is a bat. So this is your own ability. Are you?
Yeah, fuck, I'll do it.
You wanna do it?
Yeah. So 120 if I miss, and then 140 if I make it.
Over.
So
No practice shot.
Well, I don't know how it is.
No practice shot. No, you get one shot. Dun dun dun. No. It's all good. I appreciate you, bro. At least you can go home knowing you took the risk. You feel me? You took that risk.
I didn't want to overshoot.
Whatever happens, happens. What was your name?
Kevin.
Kevin? I appreciate you coming today, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, bro. I'll remember you for next time, all right? Yes, sir.
Have a good day, guys.
What's your name?
I'm Carla.
Carlo. Come say hi. If it's cool with you guys, he's on the video. You're gonna be on the next video, all right? So you have to come, you have to go tell your friends to like come watch my video, subscribe now.
You know what? He was like, please take me, take me. We're like, no, we're just driving by. And he said, no, we have to go to this place.
How y'all doing, bro? Good? Trying to sell? It's together? Cool. Together? Bet. Both new, both used?
Nah, not really. They're local used. Just a little bit.
So we don't really take Bapestas, bro. What did you want?
I don't know, like 550.
Just keep the Bapestas. How much you want for these? We don't really take these used like that either. So I'd also say keep it unless you want less than 100, bro. They don't sell. Yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Wanna leave these? Take these, right, too? Appreciate you. What's up, man? How you doing today? Good?
How are you?
Fantastic. What you got for me?
Like Converses.
Some Converses.
I got from you guys, but I didn't know they were used.
They're not used. They might be tried on, but they are still brand new. They're DS still. I can buy them if you want as DS.
I bring them in last time, but I forgot to ask if you guys could do a size swap for me.
We don't have these in small sizes right now, I'll be honest. I could possibly give you store credit. We don't have too many small size slides though, so it wouldn't be a lot for this color. Hey Jason, are any of those slides right there a 6? He gonna double check, but I know we don't really have too many.
I got these for $350.
So I wouldn't buy them for that high.
It's already.
I can-
I was looking for $300.
I wouldn't. I can do 280 store credit or 250 cash. Just because we sell them for 350, they go for about 300 online. That's why if we were to buy them, it'd be a little less.
270.
I can't, not cash.
How
I
much
can't.
credit would you do?
Store credit for these would be like 80. They don't go for too much, this color, yeah. So for both, that's like 360 store credit, or for cash, it'd be like 320.
Can you do 85%?
Store credit, that's fine. Cash would be less though. Cash, I'd be at like 60. Yeah. I'll do 70. Yeah.
I'll take that.
You wanna do that? And you wanna look around for this? If you want, you can think about it. Store credit, yeah. It's cool. All right, let me know, yeah, it's cool. Thank you, bro, let me know. I'll keep those right here for you.
I get store credit.
Yeah, what you got? Both used.
Oh, yeah. Those ones are used. The only one.
So I pass on the Travs. They're just really hard for us to sell. We usually don't take these, bro. It's just a tough color to sell, but what did you want?
How much do they go for? I think they go for like 160 or something.
Brand new, it's like 100.
You do like 90 store credit?
That's cool.
That's cool.
You guys wanna look around?
Yeah.
And yeah, these just keep.
I'll just take the cash.
You wanna do the cash?
Yeah.
How much did I say?
250.
250. Bet. Who you got in the World Cup? Argentina. All right. Sure, we don't see. Thank you, bro. Have a good one, all right? Yes, sir.
I watch your videos all the time.
Where are you from?
DC.
DC.
Yeah.
Okay. We got the East Coast in the building. What's your name?
Trey.
Trey?
Yeah.
I like that. You're gonna be on the next one, bro. Yeah, I need you to do me a favor, all right? You gotta go to school and tell all your friends to go subscribe and like all my videos, all right? You got to for me. They do? Okay. I appreciate you, bro. Legend. Shout out to homie. Trying to sell? Yeah. How are you, bro? Good. Cool? What you got?
I got Dragonflight.
Oh, still raining outside?
Yeah, it's called LA rain.
Yeah, man.
Nice, huh? You never get it, right?
I love it. I'll take it when we can get it.
These look cool.
They are cool, huh? I bought
Super
2 pairs, and
cozy.
my wife said, I'm taking one. She's like, yeah, I want those.
They are cool. Some Amamanier. Did you have a number in mind?
No, I was just looking for pictures.
Let me see what I'm at.
You guys have a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff. Wait, like shoe-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot. Did you have a number in mind?
I was looking like
4 for these, 390.
Be at 350 cash or 4 credit. I'm gonna look around.
Okay, maybe I'll look around.
Yeah.
And then these, like, how much you want?
They're not doing too well. I'd be at like 130 cash or 150 credit.
Okay.
And then these, I'd be at under 100.
Under 100?
They're just in the condition. They're I bought a brand new one yesterday for like 150. But once like the suede starts to discolor, it's just really hard for us to sell them.
Would it be like under 100?
It'd be 70 cash or like 100 credit. I'll do 80 cash or like 100 credit, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to wear them anymore.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
You want
Okay,
credit or
so-
do you want cash? Okay, so there's cash.
And then I want to look around for these.
Look around. All right, so what is it together? 50, 480 cash or 550 credit. Yeah.
Hello, sir!
Yeah. Let me get you your cash, bro.
You want to
You're good. I can leave him here. You're good.
What up, Kelsey?
And I can check your list out if
What's
you
it gonna do?
If you want, I can give you
Yeah,
maybe.
so I want to buy a couple pairs.
All right. Flip a coin, John.
What should we do?
Flip a coin.
You want to flip a coin? Flip a coin? Alright, 350 or 360.
We don't got no quarters, so we flipping a nickel.
We're flipping a nickel today. You ready? Let's go. Alright.
So it's 350 or 360. All right. Call it in the air.
Right on.
My fault. Hold on.
Damn, it's a nickel, so it's small. Heads. He saw it in the air, brother. It's all good.
He cheated. He cheated. It's like, nah, it's like. Welcome back. Okay, these. I probably would. I'll probably give you exactly what you paid. What was it, like 120 each? I'll do that.
121 or something. You want to give me 125 on them?
I wouldn't.
Come on, 400.
400, bro. You just said 125 each, and that
No,
was
these are
that's
125.
380. I wouldn't.
These ones are worth a
I
little
wouldn't.
more.
I wouldn't. I passed. I'll do 370.
375.
You're killing me, man.
What are you up to anyway, Kelsey?
You're killing me. I do 4 credit though if you want to use it today.
I don't know about these guys.
Think about it. Let me know.
I think I'll go next.
I'll think about it.
Appreciate you, bro. No worries. I'll keep you here if you want. No worries. Go on. How you doing, bro? Good? Yeah. What are these? CDGs. So I would pass on the dunk highs, bro. They just don't sell too well. What did you want for both of these? Would you buy these, John? They're CDG. Retail's 350. If I were to take it, I didn't know retail's 350. You're gonna like, it's gonna be way below retail. It'd be like one. What did you want? It'd be like 140. No, so just keep it. Yeah, it's a cool shoe. We usually don't take stuff like that. The Vances used, I'd also keep unless you want like same thing. I'll do like 120 cash, bro. 150 credit. If you do both, what is that? 360 or 420 credit. 420 credit. Look around here. Oh, 260. I'm sorry. 260 or 320. Yeah, 260 or 3.
How much are you selling your
Boston Pounds 500.
for a size 9?
9, yeah.
I'll do that and I'll just put
Size 260 for, so 320, so you pay 180 on top. Cool. So you have 4 from me. You have 50 from him.
What you got?
I'll give you 420. I'll give you extra 20. So you have 4, so you
Did
see.
you do anything on these?
No. So you pay 230.
Huh?
You pay 230 on top. That'd be the best. I already know because we paid high for this. We never get these. I wouldn't do no better.
I know, but you gotta go market value.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do market value. I'm paying market value. I'm literally paying the market. So how would I make money?
420, 470. Give me 5 credit. I'll
No,
pay
not
the difference.
470. Not 470. We're at
420, you said.
420, and then plus 40. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I'm saying give me 5.
I can't.
And
I
then
do
I'll pay
480. I do
7 for
480.
these.
You pay 220.
Fine, let's
Cool.
do it.
Cool. I'll meet you at the register item. How you guys doing today? Cool. You can set it all up. These are all brand new, right? Cool.
Thank you.
Georgetown. I'd be at 800 cash or 900 credit. Both of the bleached corals are gonna be pretty much a retail. Yeah. And these are your main money. I'm at like 220 on the Georgetowns and like 360 on the Travs.
I'll do it. That's fine.
With the cash?
Yeah, I'll do the cash.
Thank you, bro. How's it going, all right? What's up, bro? What you got, man? Woo! All brand new? How much you want? Let's see. Young businessman. So I'll be honest, I wouldn't do that high. We're just not paying too high on the Yeezys like that no more, bro, just because we've been getting a lot. I'm at that. I'll do 650 credit if you want. 580 cash. That's cool. You want the cash? You don't want to look first? Okay. Yeah? Cool. 3, 4, 5, 6. What's your name? Josue? It's your first time here? Yeah. First time? Legend, bro. I appreciate you coming. Shout out to homie Josue, man. Go spam W's for Josue. Thank you, bro. How we going? Thank you, guys. Thank you. What's up, bro? You good? Chilling? What you got, man? Can't complain.
Hey, what's that up there? Yeah. Bet you never been this close to a celebrity before, huh? You want to take a selfie or... Don't focus down there. Here, look back up here. Here, have a prime. Yeah, go ahead and drink that. Yeah, it's smooth, isn't it? Yeah, smooth. Oh. Oops, sorry. I thought you might have been dying or passing away there. No, that's okay. There we go. There it is. Huh. Not much in here. That's okay. I'll tell you what, though. That's a great shirt. Oh, yeah, it feels nice. Yeah, let me just get that off here real quick. Let me just get that off. There you go. Oh, man. Your body's disgusting. Oh, you gotta work on that. I mean, here, check this out. Check this out. Nah, it's okay. Go ahead. You can look. I know, it's pretty remarkable. I know I look good. Look at that. You want to touch it? And I better get those shoes from you, too. Here. Stop squirming. Stop squirming. Here. Mike! Mike, come help with this!
Yeah. Man, Logan's been working on so much crazy stuff this year. He's a total workhorse. Right, Logan?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Just here. Let's get those panties off. Here, get on your back!
Yeah. He's trustworthy, too. He's the best. He's the best. I love him.
I am trustworthy, aren't I, boy?
Yeah, Logan. You are. Can I get paid now?
One.
I already paid you, remember? This stuff is for Daddy, okay? Now, I know you might be mad. Listen, I hear you. I am just as upset as you are. That's why I have a video to show you. Here, let me find it real quickly. It's like, yeah, this usually tends to calm people down a bit.
Wait, bro. I got hit, bro. Please, listen, wait.
Nah, let him keep talking. He's not done yet.
Wait.
All right, you guys, man. First things first, we hit 100,000 subscribers. Like what? I will be honest, it still hasn't really hit me. I did film the countdown for my reaction to hitting 100K, but my reaction was lame. There she is. 100K. We did it, y'all. We did it, guys. I love y'all, bro. It was super late at night and I had work that day, so that's why I don't want it to seem like I'm not thankful or I'm not grateful. Yeah, this is really only the start. I don't want to say too much, but I do want to say thank you guys, man. Thank you to each and every one of y'all on the road to 1 million subscribers, man. So if you guys haven't already, go down below and join the game. Yeah, this video is a buyout video just because y'all have been loving the buyout video, so I thought it'd be cool. Celebrate 100K. Y'all get a little
What is that, dude? What is that, dude? That's the criminal's shirt. Oh, is that
like a police chase, and it looks like somebody tried shooting out the tire. Bullet lodged in the speaker.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are here at the new Goon Squad garage, and today we're not going to continue working on our Porsche 911 turbo build because, as you guys seen in the previous video, we basically got that sucker
saw me?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Alltså spår. Det är det. Ja. Ja. Sen. Så här. Jag är garanti. Hjälp mig. Ready for
fully repaired and it's pretty much finished for now until all the parts come in from a different country, which is going to take a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, while we wait, we're going to move on to our brand new build, a wrecked 2019 Lamborghini Urus, one of the most epic SUVs around, I think, but I really don't know if it's better than this Trackhawk right here, a supercharged 700 horsepower Trackhawk. How is it going to be any better than this right here? What do you think, dude?
I don't know. This thing, you said it's supercharged, but the out. Oh dang,
it
kind of got worn out, like all this stuff, but some nice like 22s or something like that, like kind of like what we have on the Trackhawk would look really good, like all black.
That would look insane. But look, for this side right here, pretty much no damages right here. The back end looks pretty good. Got a busted glass, of course.
Busted glass. I mean, look at the rear end. It got like a diffuser looking thing right here with this wheel or tire and wheel and caliper and rotor. Hopefully the caliper is good. Got shot up, dude.
Wow.
So this thing has definitely been into shooting. I wonder if it was like a police chase and it looks like somebody tried shooting out the tire. They did a good job. It's off the car.
Hey.
But look what happened. So like it got me thinking, like, what happened to the rest of the car? So if it was involved in a shooting,
oh, dude, this kind of does like resemble a cop bull bar or something, like swiping it from the side, or maybe a SWAT truck or
somebody
something,
or they were trying to rip the doors off, or somebody was trying to run away and they were just like running through stuff, and then you get a little closer.
Are we gonna go on the inside yet?
No, we're not gonna go on the inside yet, but look right here, dude.
No, how do you see this stuff?
Don't that look like another bullet that hit right there and kind of ricocheted up? Luckily, our glass is good, but our roof definitely has a little bit of damage right there from that. That is just insane. I don't see anywhere else on the door any like entry sections, but I mean, it's all obliterated.
Yeah, this is all destroyed. Let's go to the front here and see if we can see any clues here. Does that look like maybe a bullet hole right there or something?
I don't know. Look at these weird little marks right here, man. I'm telling you, I can be an investigator. I'm telling you, dude. It's just interesting stuff to see all this stuff. And it kind of has a weird damage here, another weird damage here. Just does not make sense. Nothing is really like making sense for me. It's kind of weird how everything is just like ripped up, torn apart. This fender got ripped up. We lost our little like side piece right here, but the hood, for the most part, looks good. Yeah, it looks good. There's apparently
is there PPF on it as well?
Yeah, there's PPF on it. I think the whole front kit has like a PPF, so it's fixable, but that's crazy, dude. Whatever happened to this thing, I want to know. I want to get to the bottom of this. The inside's even crazier, guys, but
that's pretty much it for the damage on the exterior, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the damage on the exterior. We don't know what's going on. When we bought this thing, did it say, it said it runs, right?
It said it runs and drives, dude. There's a bunch of stuff going on with the interior that's not as described in the listing.
You guys know how auctions are. It's crazy, but you know what? We're excited to get into it.
All right, guys, so now it's time to move into this interior of this Lamborghini Urus and just go ahead and just give them a zoomed in look in here right here. And that looks pretty filthy right there, right off the bat. In the pictures, dude, this thing was minty fresh. All that stuff was put together. Nothing was ripped apart. And when we got it, literally, it got completely destroyed, torn apart. We asked the delivery driver, like, what was going on, and he really doesn't know. And I'm almost thinking that maybe he parked in some sort of part of town where somebody got into it and literally just, like, destroyed the insides of it or something like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, because as you guys can tell, center console is missing a bunch of stuff right there. Which, I mean, why would somebody take apart the center console? And obviously some trim pieces on the dash over there. Let me get up in there. Ooh. Yeah, you see all those trim pieces missing and stuff like that?
Oh my goodness. Hopefully our dash is not destroyed. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. We know how to repair dashes.
We got a technique, but always sucks when you see the windshield crack like that, because it does scratch up that dash.
It definitely scratches up the dash. These doors won't open right here. And I think this rear door
Oh, that rear door. Let's check out the rear end, dude.
Let's go ahead. Look
Oh,
at this.
there's some dash pieces or some trim, dude.
Of course, yeah. I don't know how they ended up in here. I guess somebody like tore it apart or tried to get at something.
I think they might
why
have.
did they leave it? Or
You know what could happen?
telling.
Like after this car goes to the auction, sometimes they still keep these cars under investigation. You know what I
True.
mean?
Maybe the investigators like got into there, tried to
They're
find
probably
some
trying
sort of
to
stuff.
locate some bullet rounds.
Very
dude.
possible, because you know what? We actually noticed some stuff. Is there any bullet holes going through this door? Because
Is the door panel good? No holes through it?
no
nothing?
holes through this. You know, imagine if this car has a bunch of bullet holes going through the interior, hitting stuff
You
that
gotta have to change out leather and stuff like that, dude. So
that'd
we
be
gotta keep an eye out. I'm sure that it's a very big possibility, dude.
It is. This door right here is perfect condition. All the pieces right here got a little bit of dust on them. I think we can clean them up. I'm noticing some scratches here and there, but you know what?
Dude,
Nothing
look at
to
the
worry
seats,
about.
dude. The stitching on the seats, is that red and black, dude? That looks
Red,
amazing.
and look at that, dude. The Lamborghini stitched in the headrest right there.
Oh, look at the Alcantara ceiling, dude. That is sick.
Romanian authorities have seized Andrew Tate's Bugatti and overall car collection. Online misogynist boasted about his cars in a tweet to Greta Thunberg that earned a viral rebuke. Turns out his cars now have been seized.
This is like Ethan in his Italian mobster impression. Wait, what? No, you really think Andrew Tate doesn't sound like that? You must have never heard him speak. You think that?
Top G has now become the top prisoner.
Oh, hold on. This was a good video here. I mean, this is like basically my compilations of him talking about his business strategies numerous times. This lawyer basically.
At the beginning, she will need you, but then she.
Control with emotions and actual physical control.
And this is extremely important, because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. You have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive.
Fallacy. That's his word. His word. Not taking this out of context. So she'll need you at first, but then she won't. But you have to keep her convinced that she does need you.
I can't remember if it was the RTFM show or my live stream on Twitch where I said I had this idea because people were just like, Jay, you never talk about used stuff. And I'm always talking to the person that's like looking at going out and buying new. That's the best way to get usually a working product or at least a warranty behind it or something. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do the used build. And what I said I was gonna do is I was going to purchase a whole bunch of stuff off of eBay to create a system or like a desktop, document it, show you guys what I got, how much I spent, what made me choose those particular parts and how to maybe potentially not get scammed, build it, we'll review every part that comes in, build it, and see what we were able to do. This tower comes in at $517 before shipping. So if it all works out, this is gonna be a hell of a build. Kioxia is proud to celebrate their 35th anniversary of the company's invention of NAND Flash, a technology that has changed how we work and play. The XT6 Enterprise Data Center NVMe SSDs feature Kioxia's developed controller, firmware and its own 3D flash memory by CS flash, and feature a new set of form factors for future server and data center support with easy hot swappability. To see the complete spec sheet of all of Kioxia's developed drives and to celebrate the 35th anniversary, follow the link in the description below. The total with shipping is $609, which for what you see that if everything we got here works, some is used, most is used, some is brand new. It just had to do with pricing. And there's some components that I'm more comfortable taking new versus used. And so anyway, get ready. This video is probably gonna be a little bit longer than normal because I wanna cover this all in one video and not have it be a multi-parter. So get your popcorn, go take your poop now, pour your whiskey, whatever. Sit down because it's gonna be a little bit of a longer one, but hopefully jam-packed with information. So what components do you need? Well, the component structure is the same no matter what your system is. You gotta have your CPU, you gotta have your memory, you gotta have your motherboard, your GPU, your storage, your case, your power supply, and your cooler. Those are the 8 things every PC needs. So where you decide to choose to save some of your money is gonna be how future-proof is your power supply gonna be? I did a whole video talking about things you have to consider regarding how long your power supply stays relevant. The components that are chosen here and the potential upgrade path, I got a power supply that I think gives me just enough room to be able to upgrade something like the graphics card later without having to change out the entire power supply. Storage. Storage is something that you can save some money on up front because you can always add more if your motherboard is new enough to support multiple M.2s or even SATA drives. Fun fact, we went with an M.2 in this build because SATA drives are becoming more expensive as time goes on because M.2 storage is getting cheaper. It's kind of like when DDR4 came out, DDR3 got really cheap and then really expensive. And the same is starting to happen with DDR4, but not so much because so many components now, motherboards, and like CPUs with Intel and AMD support both DDR4 and DDR5. DDR4 still hasn't gone expensive yet because it's still pretty mainstream. But memory, right? If you get a motherboard that has 4 RAM slots, dual channel RAM, 4 RAM slots, you get 2 sticks, you can double the amount of RAM later if your motherboard and CPU support 4 sticks being occupied. See, there's ways that you can expand. So anyway, let's go and start off with the list of components here. 4, so 3, what I got 2, for the platform 1. Here, and we'll talk about the motherboard. I've got everything sort of listed out right here. I went with a Gigabyte Aorus GA-AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard. So it's an AM4 board, X370 chipset, which means that we're gonna get all the features available to us with the proper gen Ryzen CPU. But this is where things kind of get a little bit sort of dicey because remember AMD had that issue regarding the BIOS chip being able to hold only so many BIOS compatible CPUs in it, and with Ryzen being AM4 being a 5-year chip, it got to the point to where having the microcode and all that stuff on the BIOS for compatibility with CPUs is too great for the size of the chip that was on the motherboard. Depending on the BIOS, you lose support for some of those older CPUs. So what I chose to do with this one was to get the same gen CPU for the same gen motherboard. So what that means here is I have an X370, if I remember correctly, I've got a 3000 series CPU because they are compatible with each other. They are the same generation. I ordered this stuff like almost a month and a half ago. So I forgot some of this. We're kind of going through it at the same point here. But I had to wait for it all to come in. I wanted to review the condition everything came shipped in, and you'll see some tape on here. I'm just taping up labels and things. One of them I opened by accident. But I wanted all of the unboxings to be live on camera so you can see firsthand the condition things arrived in, especially when they're used. But anyway, with that X370 Gigabyte Aorus board, it was $70. Now you might be looking at this going, Jay, there's cheaper motherboards than eBay right now. Forget, I bought this in the beginning of November. Time has moved on. You got new people getting new stuff for Christmas and potentially new stuff going up there. That's the problem with the used market. It's really difficult to say, here's what you could buy because it's just constantly all over the place. At the time, there were cheaper motherboards, but they were a little bit more sketchy in their ads. They were things that made me uncomfortable with them. Didn't have a box or don't have the backplate or just weird things. A lot of them say, as is, untested. And that in itself is enough to make me look away from the ad. I don't care if it was 30, 40 bucks cheaper. As is untested is the scariest thought. So if I click on the Aorus ad, we'll read the ad real quick. It's one of those things where how much am I willing to trust their ad? Because there's no refunds or returns on just about any of this stuff. See right here, returns. Seller does not accept returns. So 70 bucks, it's mine, and it was $12.79 shipping. It says used, an item has been used previously, blah, blah, blah. If we look at the actual description, it says Gigabyte Aorus, it says required BIOS update. That also got my attention, which tells me they did not update the BIOS on this, which means compatibility with the exact same generation of CPU should work on this board with no problem. So that's also one thing that got my attention. At the bottom, works perfectly with all accessories. I think it's pretty obvious why I decided to spend 70 bucks on that one versus 60 or 55 on another board that didn't have the box, and it was like, I don't know. So I wasn't willing to take that risk. Because then if I have to go and buy another board for 50 to 70 bucks, that's just 50 bucks wasted, which was another component here. So there's that. That was the motherboard. The CPU, I went with the Ryzen 5 3600 for a multitude of reasons. One, it's $89.90. which is not super cheap, but it's also not super expensive. If I look at the add-on here, we can see in the description, AMD Ryzen 5 3600 processor. Looking at the photos, there's lots of photos on here, but what I also noticed in the photos is it comes with the box cooler. Because one of the ways that I wanted to save some money on this, and they don't show the actual pins of the CPU, which I was a little disappointed about, because he did take the sleeve out, and I could see there's thermal paste stains on it, so it's been used. I would have loved to have seen the pins, so I make sure none are bent. So that's a risk I took. There's no mention of bent pins. This person also has a 98.2% positive feedback out of over 2,200 listings. So I felt comfortable with the CPU quality of this guy here. RAM is actually brand new. And the reason for that is, like I said, DDR is cheap enough now, especially DDR4, to where I would much rather just have brand new RAM, and that's this guy right here. It's the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16 gigabyte, 3000 megahertz. I would have liked like around 3600 maybe, so I can increase the fabric clock on the CPU, but since I know I'm gonna be running at stock, especially with the stock cooler right now, 3000 megahertz with RGB Vengeance and pretty lights is gonna be great for this particular build. 57 bucks. So $57.99 typically. And who did I buy this from? I think this might have actually been Newegg, but I can't help it. Newegg actually has a lot of stuff on, yeah, it's Newegg. So sorry, there's limited options. In fact, if you search for RAM up there and you start looking at the used pricing, you'll find many of the used RAM kits are just as much as this brand new kit from Newegg. So as much as I hate giving money to Newegg, if we are like, hey, scruples out the window, we need to save as much money as possible, this was the way to go about it. Storage, this is a fun one. We're gonna open this one live. This listing here is $35.99 for a 500 gigabyte M.2. Storage is weird because one, if it's used, who knows how many read-write cycles are on it, especially with SSDs. Two, is there any data on this? Hopefully not. Hopefully they somehow did a low level and a high level format on it. This listing caught my attention for, I like to, look, when it comes to Vegas, I don't gamble a lot, but I love roulette. You know, roulette's a game, obviously a game of chance, but you have some control over that chance because the numbers you're picking, it's like Keno, right? The numbers you pick, you know, good luck. What process do you use to choose those numbers? Well, this one said one piece 500 gigabyte SSD, major brand, Samsung WD Crucial. And I went, what was that? So if I read the listing, it says great condition, exact model will be random based on availability. All drives are guaranteed to be at 3000 read-write speed. It could be a Samsung, like a 980. It could be some inland SSD from like Micro Center. I don't know. It depends. Who do they consider to be major brands? Is it their opinion or? Anyway, this listing is for one drive only. Didn't think I have to specify this, but there are special people in this world. It almost sounds like I wrote it. Tested fully, user benchmarked, guaranteed to work or your money back. We are Raleigh's #1 PC source. Is this Steve? Is Steve selling drives? North Carolina, tons of SSDs, snarky comment. I think it's Steve. This is a Steve listing. All our drives are tested thoroughly through a series of rigorous tests. More Steve-isms. What did we get? I hoped it had come in a container, but it didn't. It's floating around in the bubble wrap. If I look at the brand, so green PCB, I can't really tell what the controller is because, oh, it's SK Hynix. SK Hynix actually creates RAM for a lot of different brands, not just their own SK Hynix. But it says HP part number L50359-001. So it looks like this might have been an OEM HP. We know how much Steve loves HP. We know how much Steve buys HP towers just to rip on them, and I have no doubt he's ripping them apart and making money back off of it. I'm telling you, this is a Steve listing. I'm willing to put my reputation on this. But yeah, it's an SK Hynix drive. That is a high-end brand if you've never heard of them. This exact drive brand new is 96 bucks right now on eBay, or no, Amazon, 96 bucks, 512 gigabyte. I got it for 35. If it works, that's a deal. 35 bucks for a $96 drive. I'll unbox the other parts once I go through the rest of the list here to kind of show you the rationale behind the parts that I chose. Graphics card, our Dragonflight card. It's an EVGA GeForce RTX 2060 SC Gaming. That should be this guy right here. The graphics card was definitely gonna be the most volatile component to buy in terms of pricing. All the old 20 and 30 series cards pricing, especially used, they just are completely at the bottom. And that's perfect. Now is the time to buy that, obviously, because I got this 2060 for $179. And I know that probably sounds like a lot to some people, but I was doing a lot of looking and I couldn't find other ones for under 200 to 210. And in this kind of budget build, 10 bucks goes a long way. Now, the reason why I got this one is it's damaged, but it's damage that's easy to repair. So if we look at the listing here, the listing says used, bent on front plate, comes in original box. The little tabs that stick down into the graphics or the case to hold it, they're like bent. How that got bent, I don't know. If the rest of the card works, it's something I'm willing to do. He's got plenty of photos of the PCB looking like it's damage free. It's just the bottom little tabs. Remember, this is like the triple slot 2060, the short, stubby triple slot card. Like, it's all girth, no length. Everything else seems to be fine. It's just that metal piece. He's got plenty of high-res graphics on the listing here, showing me that the PCB looks fine. Taking a risk on that. It just says condition used. It does not say anything else about it being tested. This one is a risk. But it was a risk I was willing to take because if I look at pricing again right now on a 2060 at this very moment, $200 best offer, no buy it now. 153, 4 bids, a day left, no buy it now. $250, buy it now. $239, buy it now. $190 or best offer plus $20 shipping. So do you see like why I was like, okay, if it's just the bent thing, and I even have a video, I don't have a video, somebody else has a video posted, that LTX 2019, someone brought me their card. They had the exact same kind of bent because they dropped it on their way to LTX 2019, and I bent it back in place right on the table in front of them, and they were like, wow, Jay and his Hulk hands are able to bend it back straight. If that's all that's wrong with it, we're perfectly fine. Okay, and then the rest of this here, I got an EVGA 650 watt N1 power supply. It is not technically even 80 plus as far as I can tell, and that's kind of scary. I got it. Crazy part is the fact that, at least now, showing expedited shipping at $28. I don't know, maybe I did pay 20 bucks shipping for it. I might have just overlooked this one a little bit. Here's the funny part about this. EVGA 650 N1 power supply. Brand new. I ordered the wrong item by mistake. My error, perfect product. The guy also has a 750 watt for sale. So clearly this guy's a little bit shifty in his postings. If I look at his user feedback, it's 100% positive, but he only has 29 sales. So I don't know. He says brand new, ordered the wrong one. We'll talk about this in a sec. The case, brand spanking new. This again is from Newegg. This might be one of my, if it all works out, this might be one of my more favorite budget brand cases. $49.99. It was a $100 case, that's what they're saying. It's a Rosewell Spectra D100 case with tempered glass side panel. What I love is it just says ABS on here. It doesn't say Rosewell anywhere on there. So I'm wondering if I got the right product. If I didn't, it wouldn't surprise me that Newegg set up in some way. That's a Spectra D100. Rosewell Spectra D100. Okay, so it is the right product. I just don't know why it says ABS. $49.99, but here's the thing. It has RGB and it comes with 4 fans, 3 intake, 1 exhaust. Plenty of cooling. Something we don't have to worry about like changing later. Plenty of positive pressure. It's all black interior and tempered glass side panel, has its own RGB controller, separate, component between power supply and the case. It just looks good for the price. And then we'll have to unbox and take a look at that. And then that's it. So here's what we're gonna do next. Now that we've gone over the rationale and the total of it being about a little bit over $600 build, the total cost with shipping was what, $609 or something like that? Yeah, $609.49. Let's now unbox this stuff. Nick, can I have a knife? Okay, so for the drive, they get an F for shipping because they just popped it in a plastic thing. I could have been bent and broken. These things go through sorters and rollers. Terrible shipping. Worried about that one a little bit. This is the RAM. Should be absolutely nothing wrong with it. I can feel that it's in the factory packaging. There it is right there. All the Corsair seals are still in place. The CPU. This is the one that I was worried about bent pins or something on, right? Because the listing didn't show it. So just a box in a box. I would have liked them to have put something in there to keep it from moving around, but everything in there should be protected well enough. They did a little bit on the bottom, but whatever. Again, private seller, not a company. The box has been dropped at some point, because you can see the corners all smashed in, but some of ours look like that too. Very faded right here, which is kind of weird. The CPU does show that it is a Ryzen 3600. Here's the CPU, so it's, yeah, Ryzen 3600. Some of the writing is a little faded because the thermal paste, depending on the kind you put on here, does tend to like sort of dye it a little bit and kind of, I don't want to say etch, but it kind of does. Let's take a look at our pins right here. Just a little bit of hair in there. Oh, we have a couple bent pins, but fixable. Yeah, we have a bent pin right here. Barely bent, easy to fix. I have a whole video on how to do it. Go and watch that. In fact, I'll try and remember to make it pop out right here. Can't tell you how many people, ew, thermal paste. Nick, I need alcohol and isopropyl and paper towels. There's thermal paste on the freaking wire connector. How? Didn't he unhook this first? Probably not. There's thermal paste on the freaking... Okay, this is re-taped up with gaff tape very poorly because of the fact that I already opened this on accident at home. I was like, what is this? Because it says batteries on the side. There's no batteries in a power supply. Remember, this posting said, oops, but wrong thing. Then where's the packaging for it? If you buy the wrong thing, depending on where you bought it from, there's a return window. Why would you go through the effort of eBay listing and then boxing it up and then taking it to the post office, or this came UPS actually, and then shipping it off? The guy's just full of stuff. These, they do look like they've been screwed down. So yeah, definitely a lie. That is an absolute bold-faced lie on that posting. This is not a oops about the wrong one. It's brand new. No, it's not. Motherboard. This one I was concerned about. There's a hole in the package right here. And there's something floating around right here. What is that floating around there? SATA cables. So this is why, one SATA cable. Okay. This is why you should never, even in these packs, and I love how everything came to me just about in Amazon packaging, but it's not, it was from eBay, because they're probably cross-selling on Amazon as well. Anyway, don't have anything floating around in your package because it creates holes as it goes down conveyor belts like this, and then it can pop out. So this is the motherboard. Remember, this is the one that was guaranteed to work, says it had all accessories. It's the one that got my attention because of it. The box is a little bit soft, as in like it's been moved around a lot. The amount of, what is string? This is a lot less scary than if it were like an Intel, because here's the thing. Intel motherboard or AMD AM5, never, ever pack it away or ship it or anything without the socket covered. Land grid array or LGA pins are extremely delicate, way more delicate than what you saw with me dealing with the PGA or pin grid array found on an AMD CPU. Those are tough pins. The Intel and any Intel socket and the AM5 socket are extremely sensitive. So this would have killed it right there if there was no socket cover. Anyway. Sick. Sick. We've got some Aorus. So the accessories are in here, right? There's this guy. Yay! Wait. Oh. Okay, so he at some point used a different cooler on this, which meant he had to take off the back plate, which is the indicator here. Guess what's not on here? The other pieces to it. The hook tabs that are normally there, they're missing because he used a different cooler, he, she, whoever, they, right? And then they would be screwed down there, and those are the two hook tabs. But if I'm not mistaken, the box cooler, I do believe, just threads directly into this, which should be our saving grace. Okay, we're good. These actually screw right to it. That was a scary moment for a second there, because if the idea here is that I'm supposed to build this system entirely off of what I got from eBay, that wouldn't have worked. I don't see any signs of damage. I don't see any staining. Nothing immediately looks like, well, that wasn't hooked down all the way. Still cover right here, but that's fine. Nothing looks like it's broken. So I've got some pretty good feelings about the motherboard. All right, last but not least, component-wise, before we look at the case, and I'll talk about the case like during the build or after the build. I won't do a review of that. This is our 2060, which said came in the original box. Here it is. What's the point of putting an air pack in there that doesn't have air in it? Okay, so it's in that cardboard sleeve, and it was just flopping around in there. All right, let's take a look at this guy. This works. This will be like the deal of the century. 180 bucks. Just has this part's bent. Grab some pliers, bend that sucker back if it works. If it had dropped and then was like, you know, on the corner of the PCB, I would expect to see some chipping or damage there. I don't see any. So how this got bent, I don't know. I'm just gonna bend this back right now, putting a rag on there just to protect the metal. Should actually be pretty easy. There we go. Nice. So the last thing I need to do right now, I need to bend the CPU pin back. Let's take the blade. Again, go watch my guide on doing this. This video right now is not the proper one to learn how to do this. So you can see, yeah, there's actually 3 pins missing now that they're straight and I can see down there. So I have a feeling this CPU might work, but we may not see all of our RAM. We might only see one RAM stick, it may not boot. And your only recourse here is to complain, like to give the guy a bad review. There's no refunds or anything like that. And this is the risk that you take. But this is why I push back against used unless you know the seller personally, because this is the kind of thing that can happen right here. Now it could potentially be 80, 86 bucks or whatever it was down the drain if it doesn't work. So before we build it, obviously a bench test is necessary. So the CPU is installed, the cooler is installed, the RAM is installed, the graphics card is installed, and the storage is installed. What's nice is that this particular M.2 doesn't have any sort of active cooling whatsoever from the motherboard. It doesn't have any of those heat sinks that go down on it, doesn't come with a heat sink. However, by installing it right here, directly underneath the graphics card, which is actually the only place I believe you can put one in here, it only has one slot it looks like, the downfire through these fins of the fans will actually blow over it. And even hot air, when this card is under load, will provide a decent amount of cooling to the M.2. As long as it has some airflow over it, it's not gonna be a problem. And as long as we keep the fan always running too, while the system is like idle state, just doing normal browsing and stuff, active cooling on the M.2. In fact, we even did a video about testing M.2 cooling and where it starts to throttle. This should be perfectly fine. Something else I want to point out, this quote unquote brand new power supply that idiot bought on accident and lied about in his post doesn't come with the power supply cable that goes to the wall. So I had to supply my own. Something else that if you literally don't have a single extra part laying around, you'd be running down to Best Buy or somewhere to pick one of these cables up, which again, added incurred cost that we shouldn't have had to incur because it was advertised as brand new. I believe our #1 concern here, well, no, we have a lot of concerns. The motherboard could be a problem. The CPU could be a problem. The graphics card could be a problem. Plug in this monitor and let's see in real time without cutting if we are going to get a post. Dude, I love that this board at least has a, so we got C5 is where we're stuck so far with an orange light. I have a feeling this is gonna be CPU. It also could be the fact that we need to clear the CMOS more than likely. This does not have a clear, oh, no, it's still stuck on C5.
Oh, it was moving when I said it was moving, and then it stopped once it started again.
Might have, I might have to clear CMOS. Hey, we have a red CPU light. Yeah, we have a red CPU light. Yeah, it's a red CPU light stuck on C5. All right, so there you go. I now have to go forward with one of my own CPUs just to see if the rest of the components work. That sucks, because everything in that listing indicated it should have been fine, but you know, I chose to go with the cheaper CPU that was on there because I was trying to make this as cheap as possible, and my red flag, and I called it out when I was looking at the listing with you even right now, was that they don't show the pins. Otherwise it might have been noticed. I didn't even notice it right in front of me as I was holding it at first, so maybe, maybe not. This is the risk that you take. Let me see what CPUs I have. Damn, it was stuck. Yeah, hey, normal AMD stuff. Get it off, guys. Just twist. Holy crap. Okay, look at that's how you properly thermal paste up the CPU right there. There's so much on there. I'm just testing for post right now. I want to see if this, my fingers. I definitely use too much, which is perfect. if you ask Derek at West Grip Garage anyways. Too much is always perfect. What I want to do right now is I just want to see if it posts with the 3600 XT. The real test would be using it in a different board that I know works. That's not what this video is about. Right now it's quicker and easier for me to troubleshoot this system with a different CPU than it is to throw the motherboard or the CPU in a different system. It still has a red CPU light. But look, it's code 15 now, which is memory training. Look at this. We just got a signal. B7, so that means no keyboard and mouse hooked up. 14's past it, 15 memory training. Still have a red CPU light. Oh, there we go. Memory. VGA is initializing. It's gonna do this several times, by the way, guys. The first, I did do a clear CMOS. The first boot on Ryzen, it does memory trainings, all versions, so it's gonna go round and round and round a bunch. But we go past CPU. So clearly the CPU is dead because of the things being busted. There we go. BitLocker recovery.
Well, that's fine.
It's just funny that that's even coming up, because here's the thing. If you're a new PC builder that's going, oh, I got all these used parts, you're gonna be like, what is this thing? You can just continue, but still, you're gonna be like, what is this? Exactly, and I said that earlier in the thing. I said, is the drive formatted? Clearly not, but at least we do know that I have a nifty keychain. No, I'm not gonna try and reflow the pins and repin it. I watched Linus's video on that, and I was like, no thanks. There are some things worth my time, and there are some things that aren't, and you know what? That is not one of them. So now what I'm looking for here is, does all my RAM show up? 16 gigabytes of memory, all the RAM shows up, so it means the channels are working on the motherboard. So far, it seems like we just got really kind of duped by one thing, which is unfortunately the second most expensive component that was in the system. So what I need to do right now is I think I need to get an OS up on this so that we can at least test and see, does the graphics card work under load. So far the GPU seems like it's working perfectly fine. Yeah, look at this, it's sitting at 2025 megahertz right now. Everything is showing up. There's no ICX, it's not an ICX card. Fan control work? It does. That's awesome to see. I'm gonna go back to auto fan. Everything appears to be working just fine right there. I'm just gonna use Heaven right now to load the card up. I just wanna see what it's gonna boost up to. It should boost up to that 2000 number we saw. Yeah, there's 2010, 1995, that's gonna do it. FPS is actually pretty smooth. Really good. Can we overclock this beast? Let's see. Max our power limit out at 114, 145. Oh, that's a crash. It's been so long since I've done 20 series, I forget how far they can go, but yeah, 100 megahertz overclock worked right there for a second. Then what I'll do next is I'll just build it in the system so we can see how the case does for 50 bucks. Let's talk about the CPU being bad real quick. I just looked up the price on Amazon of what they are brand new. I could get a brand new Ryzen 5 3600 6-core 12-thread CPU for $118. Paid $86 for this. So now to replace it with another, see here's the thing. What would you do now? Would you go, damn, I'm gonna buy another used one? Or would you just say, screw it, I just got burned, I'm gonna buy a new one? You got 86 bucks into your system that is useless now, that could have potentially got us a better graphics card. It could have got us double the storage, easily triple the storage at the price I paid for it. Better CPU cooler, better power supply. Is that 86 bucks in, look, what is 86 bucks of 609? So 14% of the total cost of this build is that. So now, if I have to buy a $114 CPU on top of the 609, it's now a $723 system. That should have initially cost, right? So if I do 609, and that's including the shipping, minus the $86, it's 523 plus 114, it would have been $637 versus 609 if I just got a new one. But this is one of those things, you guys were like, Jay, do used, do used. If you're gonna buy a used component like CPU and stuff, Phil and I were talking about this, it is probably a good idea for me to turn the volume down. Well, there's no volume. There we go. If you buy this sort of stuff in person, take a friend with you, go to Starbucks, meet up in person, Craigslist ad, whatever. When you take it out of the box and you start doing this, ew. And you start doing this, if the guy knows the pins are bent, it's gonna be like, what'll probably start happening is before I start talking and trying to distract you. Like, oh yeah, everything's fine, it's fine, I already tested it, it's fine. He's like, well, what's that? There's just pins missing. I didn't know that. You'd be like, sorry bro, and walk away. Save the money. On eBay, any schmuck up there going, oh, this guy's not gonna know. I don't care if I take the hit. I'm not selling stuff on eBay all the time. I just want the 86 bucks out. Screw the negative feedback, no big deal. People up there exist like that. So now it's $114 more, making it a $700 and whatever dollar system versus 637. So that's the risk you take with the CPUs. Graphics card is working perfectly fine. 74 degrees at full load right now. The fan's at a pretty low curve because it's all factory settings right now, and I do have everything maxed, so I'm just gonna go back to the defaults. That all works. Last thing we gotta do now is see if my $49, this baby could fit so much eBay builds was worth it. All right, so the Spectra D100 from Roseville, this might be one of the fastest builds I've done in a while. It was very easy to build in. It has some trade-offs that you're gonna have for a $50 case. For instance, on the back, and I go and take the back panel off, it's on, but you don't have a lot of depth for cable management, so a lot of stuff just sort of gets crammed underneath the power supply wall and the groove right here where the where your drives would go. So on the other side you can mount some drives, but this is kind of where you have to put your wiring, and everything else is just sort of stuffed underneath. This is the RGB controller. I put some two-sided tape on it. It doesn't really hold. It has magnets, but it doesn't hold there because it's not flat. It can't go here because there's not enough depth to put the side panel on. So the 24 pins sort of get squished a little bit, but it's not terrible. It's just, you know, these are the kind of things that you're gonna experience with an inexpensive case. But once you get all the tabs and everything lined up, and this is very hard backwards. There we go. The fact that it has an RGB controller for the 4 RGB fans that are included in the case, 3 in the front, this should just pull off. Yes, sorta. The fans are mounted to this mesh, so not really intended to be like pulled off and serviced, but you would need to if you're gonna mount a radiator right here, because you do have a radiator mount. Check this out though. This is a pop out if you had a 5 1/4 drive. But there's no 5 1/4 hole here, so it doesn't matter. All that means, this chassis was used for another case that has a 5 1/4, because they'll use the same like guts and put different plastics on it. So I just thought that that was funny. Plenty of mesh on the front. Technically the mesh itself is the filter. You do have this top filter right here, which is magnetic. You have a cutout, so you can fit a radiator right here if you want, so you can water cool this case. And the top, as you can see, has offset mountings for both 140 and 120. So if you had a motherboard with a tall heatsink, like this one kinda does, then you can see that you could offset it so that you would be able to top mount AIO or a radiator. Okay, so a couple things we need to talk about here that added a little bit of cost to this build. Did not come with a power supply power cable. That would have been at least 10 bucks at wherever you would go buy one. I think Best Buy does sell those. Did not come with the IO shield, which is online for 7 bucks on eBay, probably from the same seller. Phil and Nick think that that would be a completely genius thing to do, to sell your backplate separately. Did not come with thermal paste, which I had to apply my own. So we're now up to probably, the backplate, I don't care about that, I really don't. Thermal paste and plug, we're up to like 20 bucks now. And don't forget, the CPU is bad. I'm honestly really bummed about the CPU being bad, but this is the whole point of this video. What is the experience? And I find it hard to believe he didn't know, because even if he took it out because he upgraded or something, there's no way it was working with those pins missing, unless he did it after he took it out. But typically the only reason those pins would be gone and everything around it wasn't smashed is because either he dropped it and bent the pins and re-straightened them and some broke off and he was like, oops. That's the only thing I can think of. But then he's still not being truthful and he's being deceitful by not mentioning any of that in the listing. That entire listing was intended for him to make 86 bucks on a piece of trash, because there was no bringing it back. So anyway, power button. Is it gonna beep? Because I hooked in the speaker. See the speaker right there? I don't know if it's gonna beep. Yay, it's got that old sound. So anyway, check it out. RGB fans on the front are all lit up. We have our RGB controller here. Change the colors. Change the modes, or off. So cool. Top, we've got 2 USB 3.0. We have a standard USB-C, both are plugged in. We do not have a combo jack for headphone and mic, they're separate. Oh yeah, it's boot looping because it's been off. This is the system that eBay built. And it's also the system.
This here is a viewer's broken gaming PC. And in this video, we're gonna try to fix it. This system has a very strange backstory. If you can believe this, it's been down according to...
I sent $385 US to the NWN Lap factory outlet on AliExpress. And in return, I received this. It's got a 16-inch 2560 by 1600 type screen, a fully mechanical keyboard, 16 gigs of RAM, 5 free included accessories, including this sleeve, and an aluminum shell. This might be the best value gaming laptop that I have ever seen, unless they skimped out on this. That is so cool. And on this. Oh no! And if they screwed this up. The closer we look at this thing, the more questions we have. But spoiler alert, I can't even begin to guess what the designers were thinking when they built the NWN Lap H16. I can also tell you about our sponsor, Bitdefender. Bitdefender Premium Security keeps your devices safe and protects you against cyber threats. Protect your online presence today and check them out at the link down below. Right out of the gate, the product page for the NWN Lap Notebook 16.0 inch is about 4 miles of laughably inaccurate information. Starting with the price. We paid $385 US for this thing, but we have no idea what the real price is. Somewhere in the week between it arriving in our office and us writing this script, the price almost doubled to $660. Then, a day later, it dropped below what we paid to $375. Then there's the fact that I have never heard of NWN Lap. It seems like what they've done is put their sticker on the bottom of a machine that is actually from Deep, which explains everything. No, actually that explains nothing. Who the heck is Deke? I've never heard of them either. The only information I could find on Google is this company profile on EC21 that introduces Deke as a laptop OEM/ODM with the most excellent circuit design. According to this page, they have between 50 and 100 employees in Shenzhen, China, and they were established in 2011. But then, according to this same page, the last time they logged in was 10 years ago, so this information could be out of date. No worries, I'll just click through to their website and... oh. Let's take a closer look at the included sleeve and the other free gifts. That's pretty sleevey. Oh, you know what's funny? It's mousepad material, it's just sewn together. I have to know now though, is there like a rubberized backing on the inside of this? Oh, you know what? No, I don't need to bring up my keys because I have my Jerry Rig Everything knife available at LTDstore.com. I think it is. Nope, nope. The sleeve is a denser foam and it has a different backing on it. Ooh. It includes a gaming mouse, 3D gaming mouse. This is no two-dimensional mouse. We also get a USB to Ethernet adapter, but don't expect it to be a very impressive one. This is, wait, what? Does this thing work? Really? Half of the contacts in the RJ45 port are missing. It's only fast Ethernet, which by today's standards is not fast. Megabytes per second is what you're gonna get from one of these. And then your final free gift is some orange keycaps for your gaming keys. On the left, we've got a whole lot of nothing. On the rear, we've got USB-C, mini HDMI, an AC and barrel jack, and a USB-A. There's another USB-A over on the right, along with a micro SD slot. It's nice, I like to see that. A headphone jack, and a webcam storage slot. Now, hold on a minute. That's right. This is an idea that I actually pitched ages ago, back when ASUS was dumping webcams from all their gaming laptops. It's a magnetic webcam, and it actually uses magnets and these pogo pins to attach to the top of the display. No need for a notch, no need for a cutout or a big, tall upper bezel. These guys must watch LTT. And what's really cool is if you weren't NWN Lap and you were able to build out an ecosystem of accessories here, you could put other stuff there, like a better microphone, or okay, I don't have too many ideas. But definitely a webcam. You gotta give them credit, the aesthetics aren't really any worse than any other gaming laptop these days. I've seen laptops that cost twice this much with more chassis flex than this has. It's pretty rigid. Let's go ahead and turn the, I really hope this display gets a little bright. Hey, yeah, not bad. And the display is one of the highlight features of this machine. It's advertised as a golden ratio display. And what that means is that it uses a 16:10 aspect ratio. And you know what? And this is one of the things that I feel is absolutely a fair marketing point for this product. 16:10 is so much better for anyone who can make use of a little bit of extra vertical space. Be you a writer, an avid reader, a video editor. It's like that many more tracks, that many more lines of text. It's freaking awesome. It's also an IPS type matte panel with good, if decidedly last gen viewing angles and brightness. Like, man, if all I wanted was a big fat 16:10, I mean, it's 60 hertz, but like for under $400 for the whole machine? Wait, what do you mean you can't find my camera? Come on. Oh my God, this mouse is, can you hear the sound it makes? Oh, just do it a bunch of times? Well, that's unfortunate. I guess my idea is not as good as I thought. One idea we have is to try to pull up the pins a bit. Yes. No, this seems pretty good to me too. Hi, just checking out the, oh crap. Well, not every one of my ideas is good in practice. That says staying in there as it is? Oh boy. I mean, I guess it kind of stays. The screen looks great. Cannot emphasize that enough. Wait a minute. These aren't speakers at all. They are purely decorative. Oh no! Okay, where's the sound actually coming from? They're coming from the bottom. At least they're stereo, and they do not sound very good. However, they get loud enough and are clear enough that I don't think that watching random content is going to be a huge problem. What about the keyboard? It's a green axis mechanical keyboard with what they're calling multi-gear backlighting to let your fingers dance. They appear to be using a replica of the Chalk is Kale's low profile line. I mean, remember when Kale was the rip-off Switch company? How the turntables have turned. The Feel got a pretty mixed reaction around the office, but most people had their expectations happily exceeded once they heard the price. As for me, they're a little mushier than they could be. I'm definitely detecting some inconsistency between the keys. This has hands down the best keyboard I've ever seen on a laptop under $500. Not even fucking close. New standard of entry-level laptop keyboard. If all you need to do is type, this thing might actually come away from this with a recommendation. There are some quirks. For some reason, 3 of the function keys all have exactly the same function. See this brightness down one? It doesn't go down. It just cycles through all the brightness levels. But there are some things the keyboard does right, even when it comes to functionality. For example, it has function keys to turn off the backlight of the display and to disable the touchpad. The trackpad is not big by modern keyboard standards, especially for a 16-inch device, but it is surprisingly usable two-handed, which a lot of the time can have issues with lower-end laptops where the palm rejection will kick in and it won't work, and it's perfectly responsive. Man, I was expecting to just dunk on this thing, and I actually kind of like it. Whoa, shut up. It has fingerprint login, and it works? And who are we sending our fingerprints to? Actually, on that subject, it's time to explore our Windows installation, and things are about to get a lot weirder. The writer for this video has a list of 4 strange changes that have been made to the stock Windows install, and I'm supposed to see how many of them I catch here. That poor CPU at 100%. Opening up Task Manager, it's rough. Celeron. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time, but we've got 16 gigs of RAM. 2400 megahertz. Is this DDR3? It is DDR4. It's just really slow DDR4. Who even still makes 20? And wait, am I out of touch here? Is 2400 DDR4 slow? It's slow, right? Like that's really slow, right? This is a 10 nanometer chip? This is not old. Launched in Q1 of 2021. This is a 10 watt chip. Should it be obvious? Okay, I give up. What is it that's not default about the desktop here? Now this isn't like, oh, phone home, you know, weird hackery nonsense or anything, but it does indicate that they have absolutely made changes to Windows before shipping it with this machine. Now, this is something I should have checked right away. How on earth is this licensed? It just doesn't say. That's not how oh, now hold on just a gosh darn minute here. No, I've got the best laptop. Everything about this appears to be completely normal. This is activated using my organization's activation service. Okay. Can I get updates? These lights here, which I assumed were for like numlock and caps lock and stuff, appear to be purely decorative. I can get updates. I'm afraid I'm not gonna find the weird stuff about this thing. Hit me with it. What's weird? I can't figure it out. Oh, okay. Okay, what else is there? Which
we cannot
one? This
afford
one?
to relent. Not until we stop Razageth.
Oh, wait. Whoa. Okay, hold on just a gosh darn minute here. Okay, there's a Win10JH batch file here that I accidentally started for a second there. We're gonna go ahead and open this in Notepad. I see a lot of product keys. Oh, okay. Do we know what this is doing?
As far as I can tell, this is how they're doing their Windows activation.
Got it.
Pinging a couple different websites to double check that it's working, I think.
Oh my god, this is hilarious. Look at this error handling. The defined key is not found. Haha, product activation successful. Sorry, failure. The last kind of quirky thing we noticed is the way that they partitioned the boot drive. We've got a 200 gig partition for Windows, and then a 150, and then a 125. Why they did this, I don't know, because there hasn't been a real benefit since the days of slow mechanical drives, when you could short stroke your drive by creating your operating system partition just using the area of the disk around the outside where the sequential read speeds were higher. On SSDs, everything's kind of stored all over the NAND flash, so it just doesn't matter. The performance might not be as bad as you might think. This CPU apparently has a reflex of 2.9 gigahertz. Intel calls it the burst frequency, not to be confused with boost frequency. Let's see what kind of frequency it'll hit when we're actually running a sustained load. 4 cores, 2.5 gigahertz. I mean, I'd been happy to have this in a laptop 5 years ago. That's 4 real cores. I gotta say, I'm coming around on this thing. Other than the sketchy operating system, which I would absolutely remove and reformat before I connect this to my home network, for example, it's kind of an okay machine for the price. Let's open it up and have a look at what's inside this beast. Please tell me that this is an M.2 upgrade slot. That is so cool. The SSD's a little less awesome. It's got an ePeen extension on it. Half of this SSD has no SSD on it. You guys ready?
Yep.
I have no idea what's in here, but whatever it is definitely interesting. It's about 50% mechanical keyboard, machined aluminum chassis. That is a very small battery.
It was also advertised as having 5,000 milliamp hours.
Do we know what the voltage of this battery is? Okay, hold on. Andy! What is the voltage of this battery?
7.6.
That is super weird. It's probably fine for a 10 watt CPU, but not the kind of capacity you'd expect in a 16-inch chassis. What else we got going on here? Perfectly adequate heat pipe cooling solution. Better than you'd find on many MacBooks these days, actually. They call this hurricane cooling. Is there Denzel Washington in here somewhere? The motherboard is extremely small, which makes sense given that this is a class of processor that you would normally find in like a netbook class product. Uses an Intel Wi-Fi chipset though. Where's my weird off-brand wireless chipset? Should we game on it?
Let's do it.
The product marketing features a lot of gaming imagery. All right, let's open up with CSGO. More like CS slow. Oh! It defaulted to high. Oh my god, 8x MSAA was enabled. Not promising. We're getting a stuttery 15 frames per second. This is all low. Technically, the game is running. I did manage to get a kill there a second ago. You know, it's moving out a little bit though. Yeah, I'm running at 2560 by 1600. Like, it looks great when the frames render. If it was me in high school, I'd be like, heck yeah, I can play the game. What about Genshin though? No! They claim you get 50 FPS in this game. Because this is not 50 FPS, I can tell you that much. It's also not as bad as I thought it was going to be though. Ooh, but our render resolution is at 0.6. So it's not that, it's more like 1080p. Everything but crowd density is minimum. Yeah, this is not as fast as, ooh, that's not good. It's not at 50 FPS, certainly not when the action gets heavier, but once again, it's playable. And personally, I think I'd rather play on something like this with a nice big screen than on a little tiny mobile device. I can't recommend this machine because of some of the sketchy things that we observed, particularly this installation of Windows. But the reality of it is that brand new, I have never seen anything that comes even close to the value proposition of it, especially for certain use cases, like if I was a writer, for example. It's kind of mind-blowing. There are some other options if you don't mind buying used. We'll have a couple of them linked down below, we're flashing a couple on screen right now. But other than that, I just have never seen this kind of value in a laptop. So I guess good job, Deke or NWN Lap or whoever you are. And good job me for telling you about our sponsor, Manscaped. The new Manscaped Ultra Premium Collection is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man that covers you from head to toe. There's the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, their body wash with cologne scent, hydrating body spray, deodorant, and a free gift, moisturizing lip balm. Your man maintenance just got way easier. And best of all of Manscaped's products in the Ultra Premium Collection.
This is actually a question that I get quite a bit. You know, sometimes in solo shuffle, you'll have weird games. Like I just had a game where I only won one game, but I went up in rating. And then you'll have other games where you win one game and you lose 70 rating. And the reason for that is because your matchmaking rating, your personal rating, and the game's matchmaking rating all matter. Okay? So I'll give you an example of how that game played out. My matchmaking rating was 2460. My current rating, so my actual rating, not matchmaking rating, was I think like what, 2200, 2250 or something like that. And the matchmaking rating was like 2450. It was similar. Okay? These are the three things you want to look at whenever you get into a game. Okay? And what you can kind of gather from this data is, okay, my rating is much lower than my matchmaking rating. Okay? Which means the game is trying to get my current rating towards my matchmaking rating as quickly as possible. And it kind of depends on what the average matchmaking rating is as well. So in a lobby like this, even though I went 1 in 5, the game is still saying, hey, you're winning. You won a game at 2450. If I had gone 0 in 6, what would have happened is my matchmaking rating probably would have tanked. So what happened with this result right now, the fact that I went 1 in 5, my expectation would be that my next game, even though I gained like 15 ratings, so let's say I went up to 2265, my matchmaking rating probably tanked. So I probably lost like 100 matchmaking rating, I would say. I would guess now my matchmaking rating is 2350, and the average matchmaking rating of the next game will probably be similar to that as well. So even though I gained a little bit of rating, I ended up losing matchmaking rating, making it harder for me to get to, you know, 2400 in the future. So now in the next game, if I go 1 in 5 again, I probably won't really gain any rating. I'll probably maybe even lose rating and my matchmaking. So if I do it 2 times in a row, I bet you I'll get +0. And I bet my matchmaking will go to probably like 2250. And I'll have to play at 2250. I might even lose rating. I'll probably lose like 40 rating or something like that. But people seem to be very confused by this system. Basically, if your rating is way lower than the matchmaking, you can do worse and still be okay. However, if the opposite is true, where your matchmaking rating is your actual rating is way higher than the matchmaking of the lobby, then you have to do really well or you're screwed. So basically, you always want to be in a spot where the MMR of the match is higher than your CR. And that's best case scenario. If it's the opposite, where your CR is higher than the MMR of the match, that's where you get screwed. And you have results where like sometimes you'll win 4 and you'll lose rating, or you won't gain anything. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys now. You always want to be looking at the matchmaking rating, the current rating, and the average matchmaking, I should say, the average matchmaking, if that makes sense. And when the queue pops for the next game, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Sometimes you get screwed. I mean, it's just random, right? There's always going to be someone in the game, pretty much always someone in the game who has a higher rating than the MMR. It happened to Dilbar. Like, we just played a game where Dilbar was 2600 and the MMR of the match was 2400. 2450, and he didn't do very well, so he lost a lot of rating and MMR. You just got to keep pressing on. Exactly. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. There's another important thing to note, that in an ideal world, if you're playing at your correct rating, the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing at your correct rating and your correct MMR, you should be winning and losing half your games, roughly. If you're always winning way more, then you should be higher rated, and if you're always losing more, you should be lower rated. That's how it works. So realistically, if the game is doing its job, you should be winning half your games. And if you're having a really good day, maybe you win a little bit more than half. If you're having a bad day, you lose a little bit more than half. But that's kind of how it works. Someone had a point. They said if you go 3-3, then it should give you a bit of rating. Not necessarily. So this is the way it should work. If you go 3-3 and your current rating is way lower than the average matchmaking, then you should actually gain rating going 3-3. However, if your current rating is significantly higher than the matchmaking and you go 3-3, you should lose rating. Because the game would expect you to do well in that situation, but you didn't, so you should lose rating. And if the matchmaking rating and your current rating are equal, then you should get nothing. That's how it should work. I always get 5 bad teammates in my games, and it's never my fault. That's why I'm stuck 1300. Yeah, so this is one thing I had to come to terms with, and I think it's important for everybody to remember this, okay? It's really important for everybody to remember this, because I think it's good to be humbled sometimes. So I like to use the example of when I'm playing my Resto Shaman, okay? So me playing my Resto Shaman, I'm like 2K on my Resto Shaman right now. Nothing crazy. I'm like 2K rating. You know, we're working on it. But after a lot of rounds, I have the thought, man, my teammate sucks. Like, I can't believe it. My teammate could have pressed blur. My teammate could have done this. My teammate could have done that. And that's why I didn't win. But I always have in the back of my mind, and I think it's important for everyone to have this realization, is chances are, unless you're literally the best player in the game at your class, somebody else would have won in that situation. Like, in my 1800 lobby, I can guarantee you that Sea-Doo or Absturge or Dilbar would have probably won every game. So when I lose, even though I'm blaming my team, I probably could have made us win if I wasn't shit. I've been seeing like some paladins complain that they can't win in solo shuffle. Solo shuffle sucks, paladin is garbage, I'm stuck 1800, I just can't win, it's not fair. And then you have Born Good, who's literally 2600 on 3 paladins. So how do you explain that? Anyways, I'm not trying to bench anybody here. Like, I'm just saying it's important to reflect on yourself, realize there's probably things you could have done to get better. If your teammate makes mistakes, it happens. But on average, if you're playing games and doing better than, like, if you're going 50-50 at your rating, chances are you belong at that rating. Like, if you're consistently not able to gain rating at 1800, you probably belong at 1800. I know that might sound harsh and you don't want to hear it, but that's not a fair argument comparing the majority to one of the best paladins of the game, especially in a game where there is class imbalance. Yeah, there's class imbalance in WoW. There's no doubt about it. But when it comes to solo shuffle, you're literally competing against people playing your class, right? When it comes to, like, eventually I think inflation will take people to like 2400. pretty easily. So I get like, if you say, oh, my class sucks too much to even get 2400, let alone like win X amount of games. And I do wonder if it's possible we'll see people get rank 1 titles on a certain spec without even hitting 2400. It's possible. I'm not sure. I doubt that'll happen, but have you seen how many Demon Hunters are 2400 in solo shuffle? Yeah, I mean, Demon Hunters they're quite good, man, and some classes are going to be better than others. I'm just saying, like, it's got to be a somewhat humbling experience. I mean, you could say like, oh yeah, you can't compare to the best. Well, what do you compare to then? Like, what do you mean? There's a similar comparison you could make to like Fire Mage, right? Fire Mage in Shadowlands Season 3 and Season 4, in my opinion, was objectively a bad spec. People still think I'm crazy. Even though you saw Fire Mages playing in tournaments with Outlaw Rogues and doing really well, I think objectively the spec was actually bad and not fun. Like, unless you played with a rogue, you actually couldn't win a game. And it was significantly harder than like most specs to do well, but people still would sit there and call it like super overpowered and point to the AWC. Even though like in the solo shuffle tournament in Shadowlands, you're seeing Raikou go like 1 in 30. Every single team that has him is losing every game on Fire Mage. It's just quite clear that the only thing Fire Mages could do is play RMP with an Outlaw Rogue or a Subtlety Rogue, and that's literally it. And it was only like some of the best players in the game making it work. And chances are, if you're fighting RMPs at lower rating and losing, it was boosts. Everyone is still perfectly happy at that point to say that Fire Mages don't need any buffs, they don't need any changes, they're completely fine. Even though they're just objectively terrible and they're bad in 2s, they're bad in every other comp in 3s except 1, which only the best players are playing that comp. I know it sounds like a meme, but it's the truth. And also, Soul Shuffle is different. I mean, obviously, if you have Paladins doing well by themselves, it's completely different because yeah, if you have Paladins right now actually doing extremely well by themselves, that means they're not being carried. Like, if you're playing Solo Shuffle, it's not like you only have one comp that makes you win. Obviously, he's winning a lot. Rio is 2600 as arms in Solo Shuffle. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm saying. Like, you can say like, oh man, Smexon's gonna have teammates I never have access to. Well, people are playing Solo Shuffle and doing well. Well, how does that work? I'm just saying, if I was on my monk and I was like really struggling at 2K and there was a bunch of monks that were like 2600, I would just think like, there's probably something I'm doing wrong that I could do better. Yeah. Spelled me. It was great news.
The earth open. Frozen.
Oh, am I porting? I'm okay, right? Ooh, I just ported nowhere. That was a really garbage port by me. That was a trinket. Okay, so the monk has no trinket. I want to scare the monk into porting. I'm gonna try, okay? I really want him to port. Oh, there it is. Oh, he's dead. As long as I can live. No way, right?
Flaming steel, sear your flesh.
Mind controlled? Kind of okay with it. I'll take damage for this guy.
Bruh. No fucking loot.
No. Fuse. Oh, no. We gained 62. It's fine. So what happened this game? So this is a good example of what happened. All right. So I gained 62. I went into this game. I was 2388. My matchmaking value is pretty high, and I did okay. So it gave me a good chunk of rating, which is nice. I think I actually probably gained MMR this game, and I also... Dude, I might get 2400 next game. If I... One more lobby and I'm 2400. How is this 2400 MMR? It's like 1700 NAU. Ha! Yeah, good one, bro. That's what you like to tell yourself. You wish you could hang with us in NA. That's a good one, bro. 1700. Good freaking joke. Our lobbies are jam-packed with some of the best players you've ever seen.
Hello?
Yo.
Yeah, you know what time it is, man?
Time to run it up in the arena, baby. Oh, you copying my Santa Bog? Oh my god.
Okay, first of all, it's Christmas. We gotta show Christmas spirit. And second of all, dude, it's barely past noon. What are you doing awake right now?
I actually prefer the term Happy Holidays.
Oh, okay, yo, my bad. Happy holidays, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I offend you with that?
Yeah, that's why I had to tell you to not say that again around me, but...
Okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, let's show this goblin what's good, man.
No, we're on the wrong guy. Go lock.
Oh, really?
I'm this
Is it?
guy.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, yeah, trust
little
me.
switch up?
I got
Do not duel him. Do not duel him.
Yeah.
I got malevolent. Nice.
Yeah.
I can execute this guy and just kill him if you
I'm just
want.
gonna blind this guy. Yeah, you just finish him off.
I mean, I can execute on this spec, so...
Okay, I'll just CC everything and basically do everything else.
Wait, the lock site easier than a priest?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Oh my...
Doesn't the demo lock just kill us?
1920 rating? Alright, we can help you get that up, man. I can't believe we're starting so low. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, is that what's going on?
You're 1920?
Weren't you 1600 the other day? What's going on here?
I was playing with members of the move. What's your solo shuffle rating? That's what I thought.
What's your solo shuffle says 0 actually. I'm actually higher rated than solo shuffle too.
Oh yeah, as fire I'm rank 1 on the ladders. On Arcane,
When
tried
I'm
yet.
playing as Outlaw, I'm actually 2500, but you just can't see it right now.
I actually looked at the ladders. You weren't.
Yeah, refresh it.
Alright, 1 second, let me refresh. Outlaw is Tosanity is number 1. Tosanity?
What browser are you using?
Which one are you using?
No, you're probably on the wrong browser then.
I've tried Chrome. Oh yeah, it's Naj, Krusty, and Tosanity, top 3
No, you have to go on
Outliers.
Bing. Bing is the better one.
Wait, that's a search engine.
Yeah, different browser.
Dude. Okay, let's open on the lock here. You want Sapring Bomb?
I'll sap him, then try to ring him.
Mass. Dude, it's gonna be an invisible ring. It's so cheese. He literally can't even see the ring.
Okay.
Oh.
Wait, switch Druid?
I am already on.
Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Vault of the Incarnates raid guide for normal and heroic. In this video we'll be taking down Dathia Ascended. Throughout the fight the boss is going to spawn big blue swirls. These deal damage, so avoid them, but they also spawn tornadoes. These tornadoes will move around the room, so keep an eye on them, and whenever the boss uses crosswinds they will all move across the platform to random locations. So watch for the extra swirls and look out for the arrows that show you which way a tornado is going. The other main ability to watch out for is Conductive Mark. This is the same ability as back in the Primal Council. It's a blue circle around several players that jumps if it touches someone else, so blue circles need to keep their distance. There's also a tank swap in Zephyr Slam. It deals a lot of damage to your tanks and knocks them back. More stacks increases damage and the knockback, so be sure to tank swap to keep the stacks low. And then her last ability here is Cyclone. She deals raid-wide AoE damage and pulls everyone towards her. If you get too close, you get thrown into the air, so use movement speed cooldowns to Primal Council. Tornadoes, these did. Throughout the fight, the boss is going to spawn big blue swirls. These deal damage, so avoid them, but they also spawn tornadoes. These tornadoes will move around the room, so keep an eye on them, and whenever the boss uses crosswinds, they will all move across the platform to random locations. So watch for the extra swirls and look out for the arrows that show you which way a tornado is going. The other main ability to watch out for is Conductive Mark. This is the same ability as back in the Primal Council. It's a blue circle around several players that jumps if it touches someone else, so blue circles need to keep their distance. There's also a tank swap in Zephyr Slam. It deals a lot of damage to your tanks and knocks them back. More stacks increases damage and the knockback, so be sure to tank swap to keep the stacks low. And then her last ability here is Cyclone. She deals raid-wide AoE damage and pulls everyone towards her. If you get too close, you get thrown into the air, so use movement speed cooldowns to keep your distance. Now there's also a big ad you have to deal with. This ad will channel a damage boost into the boss, so interrupt that when you can. It also creates more swirls for you to dodge, and it deals a lot of damage to your tanks. But the real problem is that when they die, they explode, knocking everyone back by quite a bit. On normal mode, you're going to get 2 of these ads, so dealing with them is pretty simple. You focus one down and kill that first, and then kill the other. Drag the big ad that you're killing to the side of the platform, and everyone needs to make sure they're close enough to the ad to not get knocked off the side. Rinse and repeat for that second ad. On heroic mode, this works completely differently. You only get 1 ad on the main platform, but you have to use its knockback very purposefully. Off on the side of the room, ads will spawn on one of the little platforms. To get up there, you need to drag the big ad towards the edge nearest that platform, and half your raid should be on the side towards the platform when it dies, so the knockback sends them up, but the other half needs to be on the side close to the boss, so they stay on the main platform. Up on that side platform, you need to kill all of the little ads first and then finish with the big ad. When that big ad dies, it will also explode, so you use that knockback to get back to the main platform. The side platforms also have constant AoE on them, which gives you a debuff that increases your damage taken while on the platform, so you should rotate groups that go up. Half your raid for the first platform, then the other half for the next, and keep swapping until the boss is dead. And that's it. So, for a quick recap, dodge swirls and tornadoes, blue circles spread out, tank swap for Zephyr Slam stacks, and don't get sucked in during Cyclone. On normal, focus 1 big ad at a time, take them to the side of the platform so you have plenty of space to get knocked back. On heroic mode, use the ad knockback to send half your raid onto the nearby platforms to kill the ads up there, rotate groups that have platform duty. And that's everything you should need to take down Dathia on normal and heroic. Stay tuned for more boss guides for the Vault of the Incarnates raid. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.
From relative obscurity to being banned from some of the most prestigious sporting events on the globe, Salt Bae, as he's known to most, went from a viral meme to one of the most hated people on the internet. Wow! Nusret Gökçe was born in 1983, Turkey, to a Kurdish family. He grew up poor, with his father working in the mines, which forced him to leave school at the age of 12 to become an apprentice butcher in Istanbul. Growing up around food, it's unsurprising he pursued this profession further into adulthood. Around 2007, he began to travel around the world volunteering in kitchens wherever he went, just to gain the experience in the industry. In 2010, he returned to Istanbul where he opened his first restaurant, Nusret Steakhouse. This was a smash success. Reviews talk about great food, the nice atmosphere, perfect service, and an incredible bargain in pricing. 3 people could eat a 3-course meal with coffees and soft drinks for around $70 total. Within a year of being open, with people claiming it to be the best steakhouse in Istanbul, the prices had went up massively. $70 would get 1 person a meal. This continued to get higher and higher until 2014, where $70 wouldn't even get you 4 cans of Red Bull anymore. So what happened? Being an ambitious man who had travelled the world, Nusret's next step was to bring his fine dining cuisine to the billionaire's backyard, Dubai. This restaurant, unlike the humble beginnings, was all about flair and excess. The perfect place to eat for those who have money and enjoy flaunting it. Social media trends for the restaurant chain name were starting to increase. Images of people enjoying their $400 steaks and their $10,000 bills started to circulate, and despite the ridiculousness of that sentence, it only increased in popularity as time went by. One of the reasons social media has received criticism is for exactly this type of excess, where spending extravagant amounts of money on the same products or services, sometimes inferior to that of cheaper alternatives, is seen as a good thing for your social status. Now take that concept and turn it into a physical location. That was the Dubai branch of Nusret Steakhouse. This, however, was just the beginning. You've probably all seen videos at some point of expensive restaurants where the service staff do some interesting, cool, unique, or terrible presentation or experience with a dish served tableside. Well, Nusret had seen these as well, and by 2017 he had multiple restaurants that were full of people with their phones out, showing their friends and followers what it's like to spend $1,000 per head on a 3-course meal, and now it came with more flair than before. If you were in the restaurant at the same time as the owner, you might be lucky enough for a slightly sweaty man to come over, cut your steak tableside with some special salty seasoning technique. Enter the creation of a monster. This video was literally everywhere. Immediately the term Salt Bae skyrocketed across social media. Suddenly his restaurant name was seeing more Google searches by orders of magnitude in recent years. People were scrambling to either see why this was so popular or to find out if they could afford to go and experience this viral sensation themselves. Essentially, a man who people thought were attractive was sprinkling salt in a funny way that bounces off of his elbow and onto your steak had been so popular that it propelled the man and the chain of restaurants decades into the future of success. He took his 15 minutes of fame and translated it into over $50 million. Of course, hard work and ambition got him to this stage, and he did make good food, have a good restaurant experience, and then, of course, the foresight to capitalize on this. Celebrities from every industry on the planet were finding their way to the viral sensation's tables. He was being interviewed by massive publications. Salt Bae was everywhere. He started opening new restaurants all over the world, each with the same or higher absurd food prices. Despite the reason for the success being that of seeing him do the Salt Bae act with food, just the brand name alone was enough to attract those wealthy enough to eat gold-covered steaks, and of course post the pictures on Instagram. So now you've heard about why he is successful. He came from poverty, worked his whole life and did incredibly well for himself. An actual great story to hear. We can think the price of the food is ridiculous, but aside from that, no real reason to hate the guy at all. No one's forced to eat there. They did it for the sickness that is the social media clout. I can't be mad that he was smart enough to capitalize on the fame and turn this into a restaurant empire. So when did things start going wrong for Salt Bae and the public's opinion of him? Well, to be as flamboyant and out there as he already was by this stage requires a certain personality type. This personality type, whatever we want to call it, is one that feeds on attention. With the money, the posing with the celebrities every night.
Niggas, how to talk about dingers. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kickback mad on the spinner, I see enough man just run for my niggas. How to talk about dingers, they ain't got dingers, they ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger, man you get done with your nigga. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kickback mad on the spinner, I see enough man just run for my niggas. How to talk about dingers, they ain't got dingers, they ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger, man you get done with your nigga. Brixton bully, slide with a body, man hold two from the woody. Cyru gangster, niggas know me. Man, leave 2 in your hoodie. My youngsters are nutters, stay with the cutters. Chef up you and your mother. 3-0 got nicked for a Mazda. Now he's doing life in the slammer. How many times I circled the up block again and again to a man got slapped with a hammer? Bro's a well-known rider. I'll hop off a bike, watch the ops and sing like Mariah. It was screw and shit to the slap that corn when she got bun. Man ain't a liar, corn come gold like Kaya. Slap man live, I'm a well-known striker. Aim for the chest and higher. If I miss them, watch best back bulldog. Everything there get fryer. Bad bees come to the rack. I tell the young G's be gentle and line up. Vince got nicked with a whole lip of grub. 3 bro is a well-known rider. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kit back mad on the spinner. I see enough man just run for my niggas. How they talk about dingers? They ain't got dingers. They ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger. Man, you get done with the nigga. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kit back mad on the spinner. I see enough man just run for my niggas. How they talk about dingers? They ain't got dingers. They ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger. Man, you get done with the nigga. I see bear man ducking and diving. I crash just what I'm trying to leave heads bleeding. I'm sick and tired of the skeeting. Back this wap, I see bear man breezing. Bro, circle the with a something got dropped in the evening. Bad bees come down south for the diva. Ain't got Jimmy, I ain't beating. Slap at a man on the back row. Look to my right, I see my ex-tin preening and screaming. I broski just spin this whip. Let me lean at the right and crash at his wig. For ops are pricks, they get touched and talk to the pigs. Man got grabbed for aim in the aim. On a Friday, man got slapped in a bin. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kit back mad on the spinner. I see enough man just run for my niggas. How they talk about dingers? They ain't got dingers. They ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger. Man, you get done with the nigga. Welcome to Brixton, I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. The kit back mad on the spinner. I see enough man just run for my niggas. How they talk about dingers? They ain't got dingers. They ain't beat cool, not a dinger. My little nigga riding loose with a chinger. Man, you get done with the nigga. Welcome to Brixton. I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers. Welcome to Brixton. And I'm in the party with Barbies and drillers.
Ingen fucking loot, mand.
down, back to you. Yeah. Make me you down, back to you.
Hey, we pulling?
Hey, I'm Zax, and this is Broodkeeper Diurna, the second to last boss in the raid. This fight has two phases. In phase 1, you fight the boss in waves of adds as you try to destroy all these eggs in the room. And in phase 2, the boss starts a soft enrage that upgrades all of her abilities. In phase 1, there are two vitally important things you have to do to survive. Number 1, every time the boss puts a timer on 2 nearby eggs, use her staff mechanic to destroy them. And number 2, quickly kill each wave of adds while keeping the boss away from them. Number 1 is definitely the more complicated one. Every 25 seconds or so, the boss puts a timer on the 2 closest eggs to her and then plants her big magic staff in the ground. If these egg timers go off, a big ad spawns, and that's really bad. So, the current tank needs to position themselves between the 2 nearby eggs beforehand to bait the staff placement. Then 2 players need to quickly move near the staff and use their extra action button so that a laser beam from the staff starts chasing them. And then they each need to guide their beam into each of the eggs to destroy them. Ideally, these 2 players are assigned before the pull, and they work out a system for knowing who's going to destroy which egg. Like one goes in front of the boss and the other behind. Whatever works. These players can really be any role, but the best combo is likely the main tank and a super mobile DPS or healer. The big complication with this process comes with finding a route through the room that consistently keeps the boss near 2 eggs that are close together, while also keeping her away from where each ad wave spawns around the room. She super buffs any ads near her and makes them almost unkillable, so it's important to find a route that doesn't have her in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunately, there's no real way for us to give you a surefire route ahead of time, so we'll post one in the pinned comment below once we find one that's legit. Speaking of the ads, they occasionally spawn in packs around the edge of the room, and you need to quickly nuke them down so you can get back to burning the boss. Depending on the strength of your raid, you may need more or less people to go over and deal with them, but we recommend sending almost all of your DPS to start and scaling back if that ends up being too overkill. You also need to send a tank and most of your healers each time too. There are 6 different kinds of ads that can be in these packs, but they're all pretty straightforward, so here's a quick rundown. The Flamebenders spawn rotating fire beams to dodge, and on Heroic they cast Cauterizing Flash Flames, which damages all nearby players and ads, but then heals them for double that amount over a few seconds. Mass Dispelling, the healing buff off the ads, is super strong for this if it still works. The Earth Reavers should be faced away from the raid because they cast a Frontal, which the tank can also dodge, and on Heroic, they cast a big physical hit on the tank that reduces their armor for a few seconds. The Stormbringers put a pulsing AoE damage debuff on random players that they should spread with.
Just a minute. Alright, man. Take care, man. I'll see you. Just when I wanted to record the video, the UPS guy came in. Here we have an iPad 12.9 second gen that came in for no power. We already disassembled the board and I removed the black shield that goes on the front here. Now, the first thing that we did was plug the charging cable, and we noticed that the charging station is charging at 5 volts, 0.6 amps. Even now, we do not have a battery connected. And on iPads, if we do not have a battery connected, then amp draw should be 0. But right now we have 0.6. I do not know if you can see it, but you're gonna have to trust me, okay? 0.6. 5 volts at 0.6. That's not good. It's very possible that we have a short circuit on the board, and that's why the charging station is showing 0.6 amps. Let's take a quick look. Quick visual inspection. And the tablet was not open before. This is the second gen. And we had to tell the customer about the possible risks opening the screen, because screens for the second gen 12.9 are expensive right now because of shortage. The customer okayed the repair and the risks involved. We were able to remove the screen without any issues, but we always tell the customer. Right now the tablet was not open before. Everything is mint, everything looks good inside. I'm looking for possibly a blown component or discolored component or anything obvious that we may find. Now look at the board. It looks perfect. Usually, most of the times, we cannot tell by just looking at the board. Right now, since we cannot tell what's going on, you know what, let me check the battery connector from the back, and it looks good. And there are no components on back of the board, so we do not have to worry. Those SMD components almost always, actually not almost always, they are fine. I never had to deal with those components, not once. That's the charging plugs. And nothing, I do not see anything obvious. We can measure around the PMIC and see if we have a short. Very common on iPads. I've done a lot of videos about a short circuit around the PMIC, meter in diode mode. We're gonna randomly measure caps. We are good. We're good. Yeah, nothing obvious. And we can quickly go over this diode, this one here, and just randomly measure caps. Inductor, inductor, diode. And nothing. Nothing is standing out as being faulty or short. So what on the board is drawing 0.6 amps? That's the question. We do not have a battery connected. Let me plug the charging cable, and we're gonna monitor the board under a thermal camera and see if there's anything obvious. We're not going to inject any voltage because we cannot find any short circuit on the board. So where would we inject voltage? Something is using the amps. And if there's anything on the board using the amps, then we must have something hot. And I do see something hot right in the center. Let me grab a plastic spudger. Right now I'm pointing, you're looking at the thermal camera, but I'm looking at the thermal camera and the microscope, and I can see the S47 chip getting hot. And if I feel it, oh yeah, very hot, very hot. 149 degrees Fahrenheit. 153, 154. The chip is getting abnormally hot, and to be honest, I never had to deal with this chip before. This, I believe, is the backlight IC, S47, but I never had to replace this chip, not even once.
Your pain will be eternal.
Is it possible that the chip went short by itself? Anything is possible. Right now the chip is protected, as you can see, protected from here, from here, from here. So we're not going to be able to desolder the chip unless we remove this underfill or this glue from the sides. And how do we get rid of the glue? We have to apply a little bit of hot air, maybe 200 degrees, and we have to scrape off the glue on the edges. What happens if we do not remove the glue and we attempted to just apply hot air and remove the chip with the tweezer? We're gonna end up taking that component along with it, taking that component, that one and that one, anything that attaches to that glue. Because when we apply hot air here, solder on all those components and all this area will liquefy. So by trying to remove that chip with the tweezer, we're gonna pull all those components that attaches with that glue. We have to think outside the box. We're gonna put the board in a board holder like this. That's one heavy board holder. You can also find it and purchase this board holder off our site. We have multiple board holders that you can buy, and I use this one a lot. I've had it for what, like 4 or 5 years. It's metal and very rugged, very durable, and very heavy. And it looks like we're gonna have a hard time removing this underfill because it's hard like a rock. Let me up my temperature. Some glue is easy to remove and others are hard. I just want to separate the chip from other components. And it's very hard not to scratch the board. But that's okay. We're gonna mask it at the end, apply UV mask. We did not scratch this area, but we did here. And finally, we have this side here. Okay, so we're good. We are clear. Let's up our temperature and desolder the chip. And then we're gonna monitor to see if the charging station is still drawing 0.6 amps after removing the chip. If not, then we can consider this tablet fixed. Now we do not really need to clean because that's not a BGA chip. and we do not have any underfill under the chip. And there is no reason why we would have any underfill under the chip. See, we're gonna have to mask that scratched area, because if we do not and we apply solder on those pads, then they may bridge. This is likely ground and those are not ground. And that's not good. We have to separate the ground from shorten out anything else on the board. But the solution is easy. Before we test to see if we still have a 0.6 amp draw, let's just go over this quick. And we're gonna apply our UV light. And while we are applying UV light, why not plug the charging cable and see if we still have a 0.6 amp draw? Why not do 2-in-1? Hit two birds with one stone. Plug the charging cable. The charging cable is in and we still have 0.6 amp draw. We still have 0.6 amp draw. So we fixed nothing. That's okay. When going gets tough, tough gets going, right?
Zero.
Or when tough gets going gets tough. Or when going gets tough, tough gets going. Any way you put it, it works. Because we had one viewer, he said that I said it backwards. It works both ways. Okay, so our mask is good. And we do not have any exposed copper, possibly ground. Let's wait until the board cools down a bit. And then we're gonna plug the charging cable and monitor the board under a thermal camera again. See how that UV mask, it covered the exposed line? Beautiful. That's high quality UV mask. Solid like a rock. Let's go ahead and plug the charging cable. Charging cable is plugged in. And we're gonna go over to our thermal camera and look at the board. Now something else is getting hot on the board. That was not the case before, but something else right here. And that's our IC. Right here. This guy is getting hot. 00010. I do not know if we have that chip in stock, but let's go ahead and remove it and see if that's the problem. First we remove and then we worry about replacing. And pin number 1 is right here. So let's put a dot right here. A silver dot. And let's remove the chip. This one is a BGA chip, so it has solder balls under it. We're gonna have to clear those solder bridges under that chip that we just removed. Right now it's almost 6 p.m. and this one is the last repair for the day. If the problem is the chip, I hope that we have the chip in stock. We have a lot of different types of chips for iPads, and I do not really know if we have this one or not. If we do not, then we're gonna have to finish this iPad at another time. for the time being. Let's get rid of the glare. Very nice. I just want to make sure no two solder balls are bridging. And let's go ahead and test. We're going to plug the charging cable. And do we still have 0.6 amp draw on the tablet? And we do not. Black. That's perfect. Okay, so we do not have the chip in stock. We do have the 89, but I do not know if the 89 will work. Let me just look it up quickly online. The 00090 is for iPad Pro 9.7 and 12.9 second gen. I do not have that chip in stock, and we're gonna have to order it to finish the video. It's time to go home. Let me just put the backlight chip back on. All right, and we're done. We put the backlight chip back on the board, and we figured it out. The problem is the 90 chip. We do not have it in stock. We're gonna order it and wait until we get it. That's it. We're gonna end the video right here. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video. Today we're going to be working on a very expensive diagnostic tool. I've worked on this very same tool. I have a video on our channel that you can check out. And this one is the VAS6154 Audi diagnostic tool. You can only buy this tool from Audi. And I've worked on this very same board before. It looks something like this. We already disassembled the motherboard from the casing, from the housing. And the technician that came in with this tool, he brought 3 pieces. We fixed 3 pieces for them. It's a dealership in Van Nuys for Audi and Volkswagen vehicles. And every single one of them that he brought in had a ripped USB connector. The USB connector is not through hole, and it's very weak. This tool is $2,100 refurbished off eBay. The tech that came in said that you can only buy this from Audi, and currently Audi is not supplying its dealers with this tool because of shortage. But if you look on eBay, VAS6154, $2,100, $2,600 for a used unit. Of course, you cannot buy it new from third party because this tool is sold by Audi. This is not a $50 tool. It's not a $100 tool. Like some of you wrote in the comments when I worked on this board, they thought it's a car diagnostic tool that costs $50. It's not. A very expensive tool, and you cannot even get that tool right now. Let's take a look at the board, and I already see a repair attempt on that connector. We can tell by the flux. I mean, every single one of those devices that we got in had a USB connector issue. I'll show you. Every single one of them. Such an expensive tool, and they cannot make the connector a through hole so it can hold. Look at the back. Why? You damage this, you cannot even send it to Audi to fix. If you look here, you can see that every single pin have pulled off the board. Probably ripped all the pads on the board, like we did with the previous video working on this same unit. The customer looks like he attempted to work on it, or whoever worked on it, we can tell by the flux here. And they knocked off this component slightly. We're gonna have to fix it. We're gonna have to remove this whole connector and reuse it and fix whatever is under here. All 5 pads. I think we have 5 missing pads under the connector. Maybe we can get rid